Greetings and blessings, everyone. This is yours truly, two times award winning celebrity event host, brand ambassador, entrepreneur, Chaz C. Wormington, aka All That Chaz, aka Lippy Slayer. Please make sure you follow me on all social media platforms. Tune in to my Let's Talk People talk show every Tuesday and every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. And make sure that you like and you subscribe to my channel, like the videos, and I give out prizes at random to different subscribers and viewers and watchers, so don't miss out. Thank you so much for your support. Big shout out to all of my sponsors: Zoe's Design, One of a Kind Designs and Home Decors and Bags, also to Deeper Entertainment and GT Digital, to TBIG LLC Wholesale Warehouse out in Douglasville, Georgia, and Cosmetics Feisty by Wisdom Cosmetics. Thank you. Hey guys, you want a real business review by celebrity event host that's going to be posted on Google, Yep, and the BBB of your state? Then go to www.cheenllc.com to learn more. Thank you. Attend the second Invigorated Women of Distinction Celebrity Gala, hosted by yours truly, two times award-winning celebrity events host, MC, and brand ambassador Chad C. Wormington. It's free and virtual. Celebrity philanthropic contributors are Robin Javette Mobley, the creator of Age No Factor, pop artist Melissa Rose, a celebrity events host and MC Ilona. Private VIP passes to meet and greet celebrities at the gala is $50 per person. Please visit www.cheenllc for more details. Thank you. Hey, get your live stream ad slots on a platform with celebrity followers, invigorated speakers, business gurus, and more. Go to www.cheenllc.com/services to learn more. Thank you so very much for your support, and don't hesitate, get your slots today. Hi, greetings and blessings, everyone. This is yours truly, Empress Chastity Wormington, aka All That Chaz, aka Lupus Slayer. Normally, whenever something comes out, a story of this magnitude, especially, I normally don't just jump on immediately and do commentary on it. A lot of stories I don't even do commentary on. However, the reason this is so this is kind of home felt for me, is because I have found myself in a situation, in a previous relationship where I was a victim of domestic violence, and I was in a position where I was being threatened with a big long butcher knife by an ex, and the ex was chasing me around. The first, when the ex came in, the ex was in such enraged that he took the frame of the door off of its foundation. That's how enraged he was. So, with him being so enraged like that, the cops was trying to get him to calm down. He broke down two doors and the frames of the doors. Okay, the doors was locked. So imagine that kind of force, right? So when he slipped in, I was able to flip the bed over to kind of like block him a little bit so I can escape out. And so as I was escaping out and stuff, he caught up with me, and he had when he was coming at me during the whole time, he had this big long butcher knife in his hand, I'm sorry. And he was thrusting, like slashing at me. He was trying to literally stab me and slice me up. So the cops came because the neighbor heard all of the commotion and called the cops. So the cops came in and they heard the commotion as well. They had to literally kick the front door in because the door was locked. So they had to literally kick in my front door to come in to rescue me. Now, the way where I was at, I was in the dining room. When you first come into the door, there's a little bit of foyer, and then there's the living room, and then you can see the dining room right there from the living room. So I was in the in the dining room area in the corner portion because that was the best way for me to get out. Because if I stayed in that spot, then I could run around the table and he would have to, try to catch me, but I would still been able to get out because in that corner there's openings on both sides. So I would have still been able to get out. Well, it so happened that when he came after me with the knife and the cops are inside by now, the cop drew his gun and it was two white cops. It was a white female cop, a male white cop, and a male melanin cop. The melanin cop drew his gun along with the white male cop, and ordered him to drop the knife. Instead of him doing that, he launched at me. So they shot a warning shot up in the ceiling. Good thing. Nobody was standing upstairs, so that's why they did that. They shot a warning shot up into the ceiling to try to get him, to calm down and to drop the knife. He would not drop the knife. So he charged after them with the knife. And the melanin cop shot the knife out of his hand. But the angle that he was coming at them with the knife, his whole body, front side of his body was exposed to them. And he was launching at them like this with the butcher knife. So the melanin cop shot his hand to make him drop the knife. Even after that, my ex was in such rage that it took 8 cops to subdue him. Literally, like he was out of his. I'm telling you, people don't understand the power of rage. When people get in such an uproar and in such rage like that, it is hard to get them to calm down. They're not going to be rational. They're not going to listen to nobody's command. They're not going to do anything, much like Ma'Khia. And I hate that, Ma'Khia Bryant, being only 16 years old, lost her life. I do feel it was an overkill, though. I don't feel like the cop had to shoot her 4 times. To me, I have a really big issue with cops shooting people like they're like they're at target practice. That's pretty much what it is. Because you go to target practice, you have boom, boom, boom. We know. Look, I am. I could be considered a marksman, but I'm not. I was not trained by nobody white. So for now the reason I'm saying that because a lot of melanin people that I've heard assume that if you're a marksman and you're a sharpshooter, that you had to be trained by somebody white. No, my grandpapa taught me how to shoot at an early age. He put a shotgun in my hand, or actually a rifle in my hand, when I was only 4 years old. Okay, the rifle was taller than me. That's how I learned how to shoot, is through my grandpa. He taught me how to be a sharpshooter and a marksman shooter, not military or cops or anything like that. Okay, so I had to clarify that. But so I just felt like I was like, why did he let out 4 shots? That's the biggest problem that I have with the cop more than anything. And I'm going to come back a little bit. I'm going to go on and put another commercial on right quick. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you more commentary and I'm going to explain why I stated what I stated. So I'll be right back. Hold on for me, guys. Thank you. Okay, thank you guys for that. Um, but so that's my biggest problem with the cop. Um, I know right now, I'm going to be the devil's advocate right here, right now. May understand that there has been a lot of racial profiling and senseless murders and killings by cops of melanin people. I do know that, and I'm not in denial about that at all. And I'm going to share some situations with you guys so that you all can understand that I know I've been in situations where I've seen cops have to make, you know, uh, make a decision that in the with emotions being really high with the racial tension going on, I don't think a lot of people are really seeing the whole picture. They're just looking at the fact that he shot and killed this a 16-year-old, which to me, I still think it was the overkill. I think he could have shot her one time. He could have just shot her in the leg or something, or in her elbow or her arm. He didn't have to shoot her as many times as he did. So I'm still, I'm just questioning that why this cop just let out 4 shots on a 16-year-old girl who had a knife, as if he's in target practice. So I do have a big issue with that. But we have to put our emotions aside and we have to see the situation the way it really is. Okay, so let's just break this down. We see the news report, it's no secret. As a matter of fact, let me just go ahead and play the video of some of the news clip because there's actually a news clip. They don't allow you to share this particular clip, and so I wasn't able to share the footage. Well, it's not even a clip; it's 44 minutes long, and it's the whole footage of all the body cams the chief of police released, and I have to commend him for doing that because a lot of people think that it's racially motivated. I do not believe this particular one was um, racially motivated. It was really a life or death situation, and he was put in a position where he had to make a quick decision, like a split-second decision, whether to shoot or to try to use a taser. And in the situation, if you guys, when you see the video, you see the angle that Ma'Khia had her knife to this victim, then you will understand that it he really could make a good chance using a taser because Micaiah was literally trying to kill another person. So you have a teenager that's that out of control. I don't care if she was on honor roll. People talked about that her mother's like, oh, she was honor roll student. Where your daughter may have been on honor roll, but your daughter, I'm sorry, no disrespect, but your daughter was out of control and she was literally trying to murder somebody else's child. So we cannot neglect that. We can neglect that. We can't ignore that truth. It's not a fact, it's truth. We've seen it on the video. So I'm going to go ahead and play this news clipping a short news clipping of the incident, and you all will see how she was holding the knife to get ready to stab this victim when the cop was there. So under that situation and the circumstances, he had to use, he had to shoot under those circumstances because she was completely enraged and Ma'Khia was not listening to nobody. Ma'Khia, I don't know if her name's pronounced Ma'Khia or Ma'Khia, but if I'm mispronouncing it, no disrespect. I do apologize. But let me go ahead and play this video clip and I'll be right back with the rest of my comments.
Streets of Columbus, Ohio, after a police officer shot and killed a 16-year-old girl. In an unprecedented move, police have already released body camera video of that deadly encounter. As Nancy Chen reports, police allege the officer fired to stop the teen from stabbing someone else.
Columbus police released this body camera footage Tuesday, showing the chaotic scene leading up to Ma'Khia Bryant's death. The clip appears to show the 16-year-old chasing someone outside a home with a knife. The girl being chased falls to the ground before 4 shots rang out.
We've never been able to release video this fast, but we thought it was important to share with the community, to be transparent about this incident.
He attacked a baby. Columbus police say they were responding to a 911 caller who said someone was trying to stab them.
We know based on this footage, the officer took action to protect another young girl.
Officers attempted to render aid to Bryant, but she died a short time later. The deadly police shooting prompted protesters to take to the streets into the night to demand justice. Bryant's mother says her daughter was an honor roll student who should have never been shot.
Deadly force can be used to protect yourself or the protection of a third person.
The officer involved has been put on administrative leave while the incident is being investigated. Nancy Chen, CBS News.
Okay, this is the young teenager who was shot by the cops, and I still feel that it was an overkill. I don't feel like he had to shoot her 4 times the way he did. Um, but unfortunately, in that situation, if you guys saw how she was positioned and how she was with the knife and the victim leaning up against the car, if Ma'Khia would have been able to stab her at her side, she could have pierced this girl's bladder, kidney, and she could have bled to death. So the question is, a lot of people are not paying attention to that. Everybody has completely omitted and have blinded their eyes. A lot of people, I won't say everybody, but a lot of people have blinded their eyes to this reality that Ma'Khia, however her name is pronounced, was trying to kill somebody else's child. Now, if you watch the entire video, the father, I don't know if this is her biological father or whoever this man is, a grown man sitting up here kicking. You see when he kicked the girl who fell to the ground that Ma'Khia was trying to stab. So this whole family just seemed like they're violent and they're out of control. And a lot of people don't want to acknowledge that because the thing is, especially with this happening right after, the sentencing Chauvin for the murder, the senseless killing and murder of George Floyd. So tensions are very high. And then remember Dante, he was killed by the cop who tried to act like her gun was a taser and she knew there wasn't no damn taser. I don't care what nobody say. Now that to me, I do feel was intentional killing because you sit up there, you're holding your gun for 16 seconds in front of you, and you talk about taser, 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 like that's going to turn the gun into a taser. No, she knew exactly what the hell she was doing. Then you had the 13-year-old who the cop asked to drop his gun. He was pursuing the 13-year-old, and he was running for their life, and he dropped the gun. And the cop told him to drop the gun and drop the weapon and show him his hands. And the teenager turned around with both hands up. The cop didn't even wait a split second, and he immediately just started shooting at this teen. So he killed him just out of, like I said, like they acting like they on target practice and stuff. Like you give somebody a command, give them an opportunity to obey the command, which he did. His hands, both hands was up in the air. This teenager was was no longer a threat to the cops, any cops at that moment in time, but yet he was still shot and killed. So I do know that a lot of tensions are very high, especially when it comes to when it's a white cop, particularly that has killed and murdered a melanin person. However, in this particular case, I do not feel like he was racially profiling. I really feel like he was truthfully trying to eliminate danger and threat. So my question is Ma'Khia's life more valuable and more important than the victim's life, who she was trying to stab? That's somebody else. That's somebody's child too. So should the cops say, well, I'm going to put Ma'Khia's life over this other person's life because Ma'Khia is trying to kill her. So I'm just going to let Ma'Khia kill this other teenage girl and take her life because Ma'Khia's life is more valuable than this other girl's life. Nobody's life is more valuable than anybody. And in that situation, unfortunately, the cop had to make a presidential decision, and unless you have been in that situation, you don't know. Hey, Kevin, thanks for watching. Yes, thank you, dear. Yes, I've been working on just my health a lot so I can get back at doing what I enjoy doing and love, Thank you for watching. I appreciate your support. But yeah, should the cop just ignore and negate the fact that another person's life was in immediate danger? Because again, Ma'Khia, she was not listening to nobody, and nobody was really trying to calm her down, not even her own parents or foster parents. I don't know, they were her foster parents or real parents. Allegedly, there's been different stories, so I'm not sure if she was actually in the foster system. If she not, I really don't know because I've been seeing conflicting stories about that. But nevertheless, nobody was thinking about the life of the person who she was trying to kill. Because the fact of the matter is, when you pull out a knife and you're trying to stab somebody, you have a there's a 50-50 chance that you're going to kill the person. The knife is you're using it as a deadly weapon, so at that point, you are attempting to murder someone. So she was attempting to murder someone when the cop pulled up on the scene. And even with the cop there, her own dad or whoever this guy is kicked the victim in her head while she was on the ground, kicked her and stomped her. Okay, so let's not ignore that fact, all right? And then the girl got up. She was trying to get away, and Micaiah just would not let up. And she wasn't listening. Nobody could calm her down. So when I state this in all due respect to her parents or her loved ones, her friends, and to the community in whole, especially melanated people. We have to learn how to separate our emotions from and look at the reality of things, because right now we're at such a sensitive and delicate place because of all this senseless and killing and murders of melanin people by white cops. And so we understand that there are white cops who are white supremacists, who are neo-Nazis, who are Proud Boys and all this stuff. They're white supreme. They call themselves supreme, but we know we're not. They're not supreme at all. But that they're using positions like law enforcement to be a cop, especially be a field cop, and especially want to be a field cop in areas that are predominantly black and or Hispanic, so that they can just try to kill as many melanin people as they can and use their position and authority to try to justify it to get away with it. So I do know that that is a reality. But however, there's also a reality that not all white cops out there are trying to go out there and just kill somebody who's melanin because of their skin color. This was not us. I don't feel that this was a racially intense initiated situation. Ma'Khia was not listening. She was not calming down. Even when the cop is there, she still had this knife and she was trying to stab this other teenage girl, even though the cop was there telling her to drop the knife, and she was not listening. She was not listening to his command. So unfortunately, he had really no alternative but to really, shoot at her. But again, I do feel like it's an overkill because I don't feel like it should have taken 4 bullets with him being at the distance that he was to her. He shouldn't have shot out 4 bullets. Why he couldn't just shoot one time? And again, the angle that she was in, he could have shot her in her arm. That would have made her dislodge the knife. Um, so I'm going to tell you guys a couple of situations. Well, I'm going to give you 2 other situations that I saw personally and that I was directly involved in when it came to a person with a knife. Um, and cops had to be called. Okay, I'm not going to say this person's name because this person really don't like to talk about this. It was traumatizing to this individual. But this individual, which is a direct family member of mine, was swimming at the pool, minding their own business, when an individual brings, along with another person, came trespassing onto private property and had a knife and was plotting and planning. It wasn't just a regular knife. This was a knife that you use for hunting. It was a hunting knife that you use to skin animals. Okay. So this person was really planning on doing serious damage, okay, to this family member. And, you know, of course, I went around there. I had my gun. This is a child. This is also a teenager. I think at the time, this child was like 16 years old. But when you have an imminent threat to your life like that, or life, or threat to the life of a loved one, sometimes you are forced to be put in a position. You're forced to make decisions that you don't want to make, and your back is against the wall. So I could have easily eliminated that situation, but I let the cops handle it. So the cops came out and they were able to eliminate the danger and move the danger and the threat away. This particular person, this teenager, had a very bad record, criminal record. And after this teenager was already on probation, so the teenager had no business with the knife, and the teenager had no business on private property. So it was just a whole lot of things that were going on with this situation. Earlier that year, this teenager had committed an offense against this same family member, and authorities had to get involved. And because this teenager was already on probation, and juvenile got involved, of course, and so did the parole officer. This teenager ended up getting in more trouble. So it was like a retaliation because this person was stood up to. So you have some teenagers that are really out of control like that. It doesn't matter if they make good grades. And the thing about it, this teen, he is very smart. He was a straight A student, doing really good, but he decided that he wanted to go out here and be a thug, be a gangster or whatever. And with that, he decided that he was going to try to target certain individuals for no reason, to rob and to do, harm to. And so with that happening, I had to put my foot down and take a stand. And so, needless to say, this person decided they wanted to retaliate. This teenager wanted to retaliate and had absolutely no respect for any adults and the person that this teenager brought with him. Both of these teens, they're both under the age. They're both under the age of 17, but they're both very rude and disrespectful. They did not care about nobody's life. They did not care about human life. They didn't care that they was going to be trying to attempt to murder somebody and take their lives. They did not care about that. So people looking at Ma'Khia, oh, she's a child, she's a child. But would it have been different if Ma'Khia would have came up to you, if say you was at a grocery store and you was at your car putting in your groceries, and Ma'Khia came up to you with a knife and threatened your life, would you then say have that same feel the same way if a cop came to your rescue and she didn't drop the knife and she was trying to literally stab you and kill you and the cop shot her and she ended up dying? Would you have the same sentiments? If it was a male, if it was a melanin male or a white male that committed the offense, would you still have the same sentiments? Will you feel the same? So we can't be biased and we can't be prejudiced when it comes to things, because wrong is wrong. And the bottom line, she was wrong for what she did. And she was not listening to nobody. She was not listening to authority. She was enraged. She was not calming down. Even after the cops tried to get her to calm down, she will not calm down. She will not listen. Instead, she took the knife while the cop is there and she started getting ready to thrust the knife into this victim, another teenage girl. So who's so why are people more upset at the cop than they are at Ma'Khia for creating this situation altogether? Because she was trying to kill somebody. And unfortunately, as they say, you live by the sword, you die by it. And that's on an unfortunate truth that happened. But I do still stand firm about the cop not needing to shoot her 4 times. That was an overkill. He could have shot 1 time in the arm or something, or by her foot, give a warning shot off or something. But as you saw, that even when he shot the first time, she still wasn't even trying to, it wasn't until she dropped, that was the only way she was willing to let go of the knife and willing to, that she had to be involuntarily taken off this victim. And unfortunately, it resulted in her death. But again, I still think it was an overkill. I don't feel the cop should have been shooting at her like he's at damn freaking target practice. He should have shot her just in her arms or something. He couldn't have shot her in her hand, because if he would have shot her in the hand where the knife was, with her having the knife right there by the victims, right there on her side like that, where it could have pierced her artery, her her um kidney and her bladder, it would have been too risky. So the cop could shoot right there. He had to shoot up away from the victim, because if not, he would have probably accidentally shot the victim. So in a situation like that, the cop's hands was tied, and it's kind of like the same situation with this teenager that came out on private property and decided that he and one of his friends want to try to endanger the life of me and some of my family. And not just me, some family, but even the neighbors. The neighbors just had to let them know, like, kid, please go, because we don't want to have to, we don't want your parents to have to bury you, but we're not going to allow you to kill us just because you're 16 years old. And that's the thing that people don't want to acknowledge, and nobody is really acknowledging the fact that Ma'Khia was trying to kill somebody else's child, and even her dad or whoever this guy was kicking this other child in her head and stomping her while she's on the ground, helping his violent daughter with a knife. I don't care if she was on honor roll or not. She's still violent. That doesn't mean that you're not violent. I hate when people always trying to, oh, well, they got this, they got that. It doesn't matter. You can have all of these accolades, all these awards, all these achievements, and still be a very evil and mean and vindictive person. And I hate to say it, but this girl was out of control. I don't know why someone that young would be that angry and would go in such a rage like that, where they would try to not just stab one person, though. Remember, she wasn't trying to just stab one person. She tried to stab two different people for no reason. An altercation happened. I don't care if there's an argument. I don't care. There's never a reason to go up to somebody and try to stab them if they're not trying to physically threaten your life. If they're not putting no weapons out on you, trying to kill you, trying to throw stones or bricks, something like that, then I can understand, you get a weapon to defend yourself because this person have a weapon. Or if it's more than one people trying to jump on you or whatever, excuse me, or the person is way much larger than you, like the guy, I know you guys seen the video go viral of the guy working one of the rides at this carnival, and this man looked like he's about 6'3", 6'4", probably over 250 pounds, sitting up here trying to fight this little skinny woman for no reason, just because he didn't like her fussing at him. Well, obviously he must have did something for on the ride, and she was telling him, because she had the children, and he decided that he wanted to force his weight on her, push her, and try to punch her in her face with his big body self. Somebody that's that big of a size to someone who was that short as that young lady, who looked like she probably was about 5'3", 5'4", and probably weigh 100 pounds, 110 at the most. Yeah, you can use a weapon to defend yourself, because even with the size, it's just it's not even. So I can understand that, but Ma'Khia didn't have a reason to use a knife on these two people. She went after. The thing is, she went after them. They did not come after her. She came after them. She initiated the fight. She initiated the altercation, according to source. So let me say allegedly. So let me rephrase that. Allegedly, according to reports, Ma'Khia was the one that initiated the altercation and the fight with these two individuals who was in their neighborhood, in their communities, trying to enjoy the outdoors. So A lot of people are dismissing that because the only thing that they can see is a white cop that has killed a 16-year-old melanin girl. But the thing is, again, if Ma'Khia would have came into your house, say she burglarized your home, and she came after you with a knife, and you had to use a gun to shoot her to defend yourself, then would you be saying the same thing? Would you be having the same sentiment? If she was somebody who ran again, to reiterate, she ran up on you when you were out at the grocery store at a gas station or something, and she put a knife to your throat trying to kill you or whatever, tried to stab you and rob you, and a cop saw her and came and to defend you and shot her, and she ended up getting killed when the cop shot her, would you have the same sentiments? Would you feel the same way? So we have to not be so emotional about things. That's why I have a problem sometimes when it comes to jewelry. You got a lot of innocent people that's incarcerated, that's serving life sentences and long sentencing sentences in prison because people get caught up with their emotions and they ignore true facts and true reality of situations at hand. They don't see the bigger picture. What they do is they just pick out two or three things and they run with it instead of the whole situation. And the whole situation, Ma'Khia was wrong. And unfortunately, it cost her her life. But again, I just have to keep iterating this. I'm not justifying the cop shooting her 4 times. That was a complete overkill. And if it takes him to shoot someone with a knife 4 times, then I don't think he needs to be a cop. If he, especially being in that close proximity to a victim and a suspect, and he couldn't just shoot 1 time to disarm this person with a knife, then I don't know what to say. But again, you guys got to understand too, some people are very handy with knives. I used to work in a strip club as a bartender. And I'm going to tell you something. I've seen a lot of strippers be very proficient with knives. It can throw knives. I can actually throw knives pretty good myself. It's been a while, but the last time I did I did knife throwing. I was hitting bullseye, bullseye, bullseye. So some people are very proficient with knives. So who's to say she wouldn't have turned around and threw that knife at the cop and it could have went in his neck or something or in his eye? See, y'all, I know to a lot of people it seems, oh, that just well still he had to do well he had to do he didn't have to shoot her for 4 times, true enough, but at the same time she had a deadly weapon. She decided to get a butcher knife or whatever kind of knife that she had in her hand, which appeared to be a butcher knife, and decided that she wanted to stab somebody else's child. And because of that, unfortunately, it caused her to suffer, some serious consequences. But I'll be right back with the rest of my commentary and to close out. And you guys, please feel free to leave your comments, your opinions, and concern about it. But I don't want anybody to really be. I know it's going to be. It is emotional, but I really want you guys to also think about the victim. And a lot of people are not thinking about the victim. Everybody just focus on the fact that Ma'Khia was shot by a white cop, but they're not looking at that Ma'Khia was trying to kill this other child and take her life. So the cop pretty much didn't have no choice. He was faced with a life or death decisions, literally. So I'll be right back with the rest of my commentary and with the conclusion of this specialty Let's Talk People show. Be right back. Thank you. Entertainment Networks is a multicultural, diverse world in one place, has celebrity supporters, and provides various entertainment services like branding, hosting, speaking, press tickets, live interviews, and more. Just head over to www.cheenllc.com to find out more. Thank you for your support. Hey guys, if you're having a grand opening, let me, celebrity event host and brand ambassador Chelsea Warmington, host your release party, your grand opening, your relaunch. Promise you, you will have a ball. World class, very professional, red carpet, and more. Please go to the website for more information. Thank you. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. But yeah, just leave me your comments and your opinion. And again, please understand, I'm not justifying what the cop did, shooting Ma'Khia 4 times. Ma'Khia, I don't know how to pronounce that. It's Ma'Khia, 4 times. But what I am saying is that Ma'Khia was trying to take the life of somebody else's child. So is that child's life less valuable than Ma'Khia's life? No, they're both of their lives are equally valuable. But unfortunately, with the situation being the way it was, um, the cop had no choice but to do what he had to do. Um, and again, unless you're in that situation, have ever been confronted and faced with that situation, you don't understand. Me personally, have been faced in a situation like that on 3 different occasions. Two occasions directly in threats of my life, period, and also I've been in a situation where it was a direct threat to the life of one of my family members and loved one. So I have seen it close up and been in those kind of predicaments. And you know, fortunately, it didn't have to well, the first incident, it did result in the cop needing to shoot at the person who was trying to harm me. Um, but also the second incident involving me directly, the cop um almost killed the person because the person didn't just decide to use a knife, but they decided they wanted to get a gun, and they got in their car and was trying to ram the police car. So this is another domestic violence. So I'm just telling you, sometimes you got situations where cops have to make these kind of split decisions, and it's not based on the color of a person's skin all the time. It's not always that. In this case, in this situation, it's not that he was racially profiling and decided he wanted to just shoot a black teenage girl. He had to eliminate the immediate threat and danger, which unfortunately was a teenage girl. And because he didn't have no control over that. He didn't make that teenage girl do what she did, and he didn't know that how he was supposed to he didn't wake up in the morning or whatever. He woke up and said, oh, there's going to be a black teenage girl today that's going to be a threat to somebody with a knife. They're trying to stab another teenage girl, so I'm going to have to shoot her and kill her to get rid of the immediate threat. He didn't premeditate that. Okay, so that was something that he was put in a position of. And the only problem that I do have with this particular situation with this cop with the shooting is him shooting her 4 times. I don't understand why he couldn't just shot her in the arm, because the way she was standing, her arm was visible where she had the arm that she was holding the hand she was holding the knife in. I feel like if he would have shot her in the arm, it would have made her release the knife, and then she would have still been alive. So I just feel like it was an overkill to me. Um, and maybe in some case, some could say it was an unjustifiable killing. But you can shoot a person in their arm and they can still die. They can still bleed out. So it all depends on the person's their body, how their organs are. But I do feel like he didn't have to shoot her 4 times. But I do know in the situation, and me, someone who has been in a situation like that in a few occasions, is until you're there and it's happening to you and somebody has a knife at you and trying to stab you and kill you with a knife, and a cop had to make a split decision to shoot this person or shoot at this person to get them to drop the knife. You cannot honestly say that you know how it feels and understand the position of that cop and of the person who got shot, the suspect. Because I know a lot of people want to say Ma'Khia is a victim, but she's not a victim. She's a suspect. She was victimizing somebody else's child. She was trying to kill somebody else's child and another person. And then her own dad's family member sitting up here kicking the girl in her head and somebody else's child in the head, and nobody's even bringing that up. It's talking about that, why he hasn't been charged. He needs to be charged with kicking somebody's child and assaulting and battering somebody's child. But all of it's just a lot of things that people are overlooking in this particular situation because, again, with all of the senseless killing of melanin people by white cops that has happened within the last couple of weeks, people are on high tension right now. People are high on their emotions right now, and people are furious and angry, me included. I do feel like these cops, a lot of them are out of hand, but you got to understand these cops are trained to kill. They're not trained to, they don't know how to de escalate. That's something that I do have a problem with. I got to bring this up right quick. When I was growing up, police officers that were in the community knew the people in the community. A lot of times, the cops in the community lived in the community. They were people that, they were parents of children, of classmates, and they were their spouses was on the PTA boards, and a community activist. So it was always community, and they knew how to go and de-escalate situations. These cops these days don't know anything. Not too many of them know about de-escalation, and a lot of them don't have a good, close, and trustworthy relationship with the communities that they're patrolling and that they're policing. So they don't understand what's going on in the community. They don't understand and know the people in those communities or anything, because had he had a connection in that community with the people of the community, I'm quite sure he would have been able to de-escalate that situation. But a lot of cops are do not know how to de-escalate. I will say that the cop that had came out with the situation, with the family member, a few years ago, this cop knew this child, because this child, like I said, was in the juvenile system off and on. So, well, pretty much since he was like 9 years old. You have a child that's in the juvenile system since they were 9 years old. It's a problematic child, but they knew the people in the community. Like, even with me being a community activist, stuff, I work close with police, with the police chief, the fire chief, the mayors and commissioners, the different people, in my jurisdiction. But they also are or a lot of them are aware of the people in the community. So they know the children that have problems. They know children, they know people who may have disabilities and stuff. So they're in tune with the people in their communities. And a lot of these cops are not in tune with people in their communities. So when they come into a situation like that, they're not going to be able to verbally de-escalate the situation, because they don't have a way of reaching out and conveying and communicating with the people in the community. Because when the threat happened, with this teenager, he actually just listened to the cops. He didn't, he dropped, he gave the cop his bag. They found the weapon and stuff like that, and took his friend into. They both went to juvenile and stuff, but he voluntarily gave up because they knew how to de-escalate it. They knew how to talk with him, and they also got his uncle involved. His uncle came out, and his uncle talked to him, and he was able to calm him down, and they were able to de-escalate. And that's a big problem with police training, is de-escalating, because, again, a lot of these cops do not have a personal relationship with the community and the people that are in the community. They don't know who are sick in their communities. They don't know who are elderly in their communities. They don't know who are the bullies in their community, who are the gangbangers in the communities. They don't really know what's going on in the community. They don't know who the community activists are. They don't know who the role models are in the community. They don't know the people who are trying to make positive changes in the communities. So where you have cops patrolling these kind of communities and they don't know these things, they're not going to be able to relate to the people in those communities, and the people in the communities are not going to have no respect for them and not going to want to listen to them in situations like this. So, this is just really heartbreaking and it's troubling, because this is a 16-year-old little girl. Yeah, she's a little girl, but she had a violent temper, a violent, volatile temper. And for her to be so young, to have that kind of temper, that temperament, where did they come from? Why was she so violent like that? Why is she so aggressive like that? These are questions that we need to be asking as well. Why this young girl would be so violent to the extent where she would go and get a knife and try to stab two people to death. That's not good. We got to find we can't ignore that, and a lot of people skipping over those parts. We can't skip over that. But this conclude, my specialty Let's Talk People show. And again, please do not misinterpret what I'm stating or misconstrue what I'm stating, because again, I know people's emotions are high, but we have to look at things in reality. Because imagine if you was on a jury duty. Let's just put it like this: say Ma'Khia this stabbed the teenage girl and ended up killing the teenage girl. Now Ma'Khia's facing a first degree murder charge, because she intentionally went and got a knife and intentionally stabbed and killed this girl. So suppose Ma'Khia lived and she killed this other teenage girl, and then Ma'Khia is now facing life sentence for first degree murder, and you had to be on the jury and make the decision to find her guilty or not guilty. Are you going to say, well, she's just 16 years old, so she's not guilty? Oh, she's just a child, Are you going to say that? If she was trying to stab one of your loved ones to kill and murder one of your loved ones, would you be still saying the same thing? So all I'm saying, we can't be hypocritical, or we can't be biased, and we can't be prejudiced about the situation. All right. So thanks for listening. I really appreciate it, guys. Please make sure you do check out my Gloves On campaign, where I am advocating for those battling chronic illness, diseases, and disabilities. And I'm going to be having my very first event for lupus awareness next month on the 15th. It's free, it's virtual on YouTube, also on Facebook, and it's going to start at 4 p.m. So make sure you guys start tune in. We're going to have special guest speakers, which all have lupus themselves as me. I'm going to be one of the speakers, and I actually have lupus too as well. So let's make sure you guys join me, okay? Thank you so much again. God bless, one love, peace. And I'm out like a light. You guys take care. Hey, get your live stream ad slots on a platform with celebrity followers, invigorated speakers, business gurus, and more. Go to www.zheenllc.com/services to learn more. Thank you so very much for your support, and don't hesitate, get your slots today. Greetings and blessings, everyone. This is yours truly, 2 times award-winning celebrity event host, brand ambassador, entrepreneur, Chaz C. Wormington, aka All That Chaz, aka Loopy Slayer. Please make sure you follow me on all social media platforms. Tune in to my Let's Talk People talk show every Tuesday and every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. And make sure that you like and you subscribe to my channel, like the videos, and I give out prizes at random to different subscribers and viewers and watchers, so don't miss out. Thank you so much for your support.